Hi and welcome to assignment 2 of topic 4. Let's see what we have to do. It's called highest frequency, and we have to write a program that asks for numerical input, integers it seems, between 0 and 99, both bounds inclusive, so 0 as well as 99 can be in there. When the user inputs a number outside this interval, the program stops asking input, so anything not in the interval 0 to 99 is sentinel, just signaling end of the input. And finally, print the number that was entered the most. You can print -1 if there was no valid input. If multiple numbers apply, print the smallest of those numbers that was entered the most. So hint, you can make use of the size of the interval, and 2, you can make an array a priori instead of on the fly. This is an example. If we enter 3, 2, 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, then clearly 3 is the number that's given the most. And in this example, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 5, 3, 1. 1 seems to be given 3 times as well as 3, but since 1 is the smallest, it has to print 1. Okay, and in the case of 1, 2, 3, which is immediately outside of 0 and 299, the program halts immediately and prints -1. So what we need to do, we have to read in numbers, and we have to process those numbers. We don't have to keep track of the numbers, because even though the numbers must be between 0 and 99, we can get 1 million or 10 million numbers all in between 0 and 99. So that's also not what we need to do, because even if we have the numbers in one big array, let's say 1 million numbers, then still we would need to track down which one has the highest frequency. So what we'll do is, we are not going to hold the numbers in an array. We are going to hold the frequencies of these numbers in an array. So for that, we have the given, and it says in hint 1, make use of the size of the interval. We're going to take use of that in a particular way that gives us the possibility of having an array or list from 0 to 99, so with 100 cells numbered from 0 to 99, and inside those cells we are going to hold the frequency of the number given by the index. So let me explain this. If you have some array, and in there will be some number, let's say 13, and that's at index 7, what we will do is we will consider this as coding for number 7, so the index has been given 13 times in the input. So we got 13 times 7. So in the array at position 7, at index 7, we will hold the frequency of 7, which in this case is 13. So let's figure out how to do this. We need to set up a frequency array. So let's frequencies be some new array. Okay, and we need to give it a number, so we will have 100 cells, and we will fill them with 0, because all frequencies then will be immediately 0 from the beginning. Okay, so here we go. So set up a new array of 100 cells and fill all of them with 0. So we have 100 zeros at indexes 0 to 99, meaning that all numbers from 0 to 99 have exactly been given 0 times. Okay. So now we will read in numbers, and for that I will have some number variable being input, so that's going to be parsed to an int. Okay. There we go. So reading in a number, parsing it to an int, and then as long as that number is between 0 included and not 100, so but smaller than 100, but since 99 is in the assignment, I'm going to actually write this as 99. And what we will do is process the number. So process the number and then read in the next one, which will be, of course, nothing more than doing this again. Here we go. So we have a loop that basically says, as long as my number is between 0 and 99, both included, I will process this number and I read in the next number. So after this while, I know that input has stopped because somebody has given me a number between, well, not between 0 and 99 anymore. Processing the number will be the fact that in frequencies, at this number, at the index given by this number, okay, so if I'm given number 7, then at position 7 I will increase the frequency, okay, and remind you that this is nothing more than shorthand for this. So the frequencies, the frequency of number will be added to 1, and the evaluation of this whole expression. So if the frequency of 7 would be 13, holding 13, then 13 plus 1 is 14, and this is assigned again to the same cell. So if the frequency of 7 was 13, now it's 14. You can actually change this name to add to the story. You could say frequency of, it seems like a silly name on line 41, but here it increases readability because the frequency of number will be the frequency of number plus 1. And of course I can write this as the very shorthand notation, which I'm going to do here, just frequency of number plus plus. Okay. There we go. At this point I have read in numbers until no more numbers are given by signaling this by the user, by the fact that he or she has given a number not in the interval anymore. But once we get here, I have a big array, frequency of, holding all the frequencies of the numbers. So now I have to check which is the highest frequency, but I have to keep track of the number with this highest frequency as well. So you could say I'm going to go over all the cells in this array and looking for the biggest value, but even if you have the biggest value, you don't know where the value is. So if you would do it like this and say I'm going to look for the highest frequency, suppose it's 13, then even if you know this and you figure this out by checking all cells in the array, then you would have to go through the array once more to find out where the 13 was, and the first occurrence of 13 at that position, at that index would be the number that's holding the highest frequency. So that would be going through the same array twice. We're not going to do that. We're going to keep track of the number with the highest frequency from the beginning. So let the frequency of the number, let number, highest frequency number, I'm going to call it like this, highest frequency number be 0. So 0 is as good as any for my first guess. So let's suppose that 0 will be the highest frequency number. Okay. Then the highest frequency will be, of course, the frequency of the highest number, the highest frequency number. Okay. So if the highest frequency number will be 0, then the highest frequency will be the frequency of 0 being the highest frequency number. Okay. So now I hold two variables, the highest frequency number, which is seen as an index in the array, and at that position I will retrieve the frequency as well. Okay. You could of course, just initialize this by 0, because we know that all frequencies are 0 now. But well, then next, I need to go over all the numbers from 0 to 99 included, which is of course the index and the array I'm going to use, but I might as well just give these a name and call them number. Okay, so for each number going from 0 to 99. Watch the fact that I'm shadowing an earlier variable called number as well. Okay, so I could leave out the let, then I will just reuse the number, which is kind of dangerous, because if I'm going to ever cut this program up, then I might be left with a number without a let. But there's no real drama if I redefine it, because inside this loop the only thing I care about is the local number, and not of course this number anymore, which was used for some earlier job. So checking all of this, I'm going to find out if this number, so if the frequency of the number at hand, okay, which is of course number, if this is higher than the frequency of the highest frequency number, so I hold some highest frequency number, and if I'm looking at the number that has a frequency that's higher than the frequency of this highest frequency number, then clearly I have found a newest highest frequency number, which will be nothing more than the number at hand. So if the number has a frequency that's higher than the frequency of the highest frequency number, then number must be from now on the highest frequency number. And each time I will find a number that's higher than the previous one, this number will be the highest frequency number from there on. If done, I can just print the highest frequency number. If I don't have any input, then I must return -1. So how can we decide if there's input yes or no? We can check this by seeing the highest frequency. So if I have the frequency of the highest frequency number, if that's 0, so if the frequency of the highest frequency number is 0, then I have clearly an empty array, because if the highest number I can find is 0, then I'm stuck with the starting values, which were all 0, and then clearly no input was given whatsoever, and the loop must have stopped immediately. So if this is so, I can say I'm going to print -1. Okay, and in the other case I can print the highest frequency number. Okay, let's check the tests. This is the one. Drumroll. And I have some things going wrong. Actually, all of them go wrong. And well, there must be something that got the better of me, because I never typed this. And this is probably going to be, there you go, something that changed behind my back or just by the autocomplete. Okay. Now I have some things going okay, and of course I copied this statement over there, so I have to solve the problem there as well. And now I have all tests going green. Okay. Will I have the lowest number if I have several numbers with the highest frequency? Yes, because only if I find a higher frequency, I will keep track of this new number. So if I find the same frequency, let's say 7 has a frequency of 13 and that's the highest one, and then 57 also has a frequency of 13, well, since the frequency being 13 is not higher than the frequency of the highest number up to there, that's also 13, the if is not going to be executed and the number is going to stay 13 and not switch to 57. Okay, that's it for this exercise.